This is going to be a tough one because the first 4 games of the season are against 4 playoff caliber teams going up against the Browns, the Colts, the Jags, the Falcons. You got a loss, you got a loss, you got a loss, you got a loss. Now you're 0-4, but you know what? Even though I like the Buffalo Bills, I think being at home, you get a win there. You end up getting a win. No, you're going to end up losing to the Broncos, going on the road and losing there. What I do think you will do, playing host to the Chargers are going to be in a little bit of a weird part of their schedule right here, where they'll be looking ahead, which is an opportunity to go out, sneak a win against the LA Chargers, one of the best teams in the NFL, and then you beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so now you're sitting here, week 8, 3-5. You think like, okay, we could turn this around. Maybe there's some hope for the future. And then you go to Carolina. You're like, okay, that you lose again to Carolina. Then you got to play host to Kansas City. All right, that's a tough one. All right, it's 3-7. You got a bye week. Perhaps you regroup. You make a strong run. You win out. You could probably get a playoff berth, but you got to play my friends down in Duval County. There's a loss. You got to go to Indianapolis. There's a loss. At the Raiders, loss. Okay, now I don't mean this personally. If Taylor Lewan is seeing this, if Marcus Mariota is seeing, listen, huge fans of you guys. But unfortunately, the way I see your schedule working out, 3-13, I don't want it to be this way. If I could have been unrealistic and given everybody 13 wins, I would do that. But you know what? The way the schedule works out, especially with the tough start, you got some tough games here in the middle stretch from weeks 10, 12, and 13. And then at that point, the season is just starting to unravel. So unfortunately, Tennessee Titan fans, it's not going to. Chargers are one of the most complete teams in the NFL. How will that affect their schedule? Let's take a look. They open with the Indianapolis Colts at home. I like the Colts so much this year. It just seems so Charger-like. I don't know. It'll be a missed kick or something crazy will happen. It always seems the Chargers can't get it going in week 1, but they do eventually find their groove. So look at wins over the Lions. Look at wins over the Texans. They're going to beat the Dolphins. Yeah, oh yeah, they're rolling now. They're going to beat the Broncos. The Steelers is a tough one. Last year they went to Pittsburgh, became one of the first team in history to fall behind by 14 points in the second half and then still rally to beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh. It's never happened before. So now you're like 5-1. This team is looking pretty good. They're going to the Titans. Oh, this is a laugher. No. This is a quintessential Chargers loss right there to be 5-2. Then they got another road game that's very tough against the Chicago Bears. And listen, I try to be as realistic about my team. This seems like it would be, yeah, you're right, sir. Yeah. It's going to be a win for the Chargers. It gives me no pleasure to sit here and give the Chargers a win over the Chicago Bears, but they match up pretty well against them. I think they will find a way to get it done. Again, the Bears find these inexplicable losses, especially at home. And really, the wisdom of the janitor says that the Chargers beat the Bears. You got to go with it. I can't argue with it. But you know what? I'm not going to argue with this either. I'm going to have you guys knocking out the Packers. So this makes it a little bit more palatable. You beat the Bears. As long as you beat the Packers, then I can be cool with that. So now you have 2 huge wins. You're going to Oakland. That's it. That's a Chargers loss right there. I'm sorry. You know it. I know it. You're going to lose to the Raiders in that one. But that just means there's a huge game coming up with Kansas City. Perhaps you were looking ahead a little bit. That's only natural. You're human beings. But you get that win over the Kansas City Chiefs, go to 8-3 heading into the break. Then you get the Broncos. You get a win there. You're going down to face my friends down in Duval County, Florida. You know what? I got to go with the all-elite Jacksonville Jaguars, who signed Nick Foles this season. The biggest signing for the Khan family since they signed Chris Jericho to AEW. But then you got the Vikings. You'll get them. You got the Raiders again. You're not going to lose twice to the Raiders. Let's be realistic. So now you're 11-4. You're going to Arrowhead Stadium. Facing the Kansas City Chiefs. Last season, you rallied from a huge deficit, just like you did in Pittsburgh, and you took down the Chiefs. You don't care about that weather. You're not a soft LA team. You can make it happen on the road in Arrowhead in front of those fans. You know what? I'm sorry. You're taking a loss here. But you know what? 11-5, you're still in the tournament. And you know what? I think you're going to make a brand new head coach, Adam Gase, because apparently the Jets were watching all those games that he was coaching in Miami, and they're like, we got to get this guy. What is it going to mean for their schedule? What is it going to mean for their record? Let's take a look right now. And I say this as somebody who is a huge Sam Darnold fan. I remember watching him at San Clemente High School. Not that it's going to matter right here because you're going to take an L to the Bills. You're going to take an L to the Cleveland Browns. This is a tough schedule right off the top. L to the... So the last two Super Bowl champions, you got to play back to back. That's 4 L's. That's not a way you're going to want to start. Now the New York media is salivating. They're making fun of Adam Gase and everything's going wrong. What could happen? Oh, here come the Cowboys. Perfect. There's another loss. Well, don't worry. Things will get a little bit easier because you got to play. Oh, wait, the Super Bowl champions. Yes, you got them. 0-6. It's not the end of the world. You got it. Oh, God. No, you're not going to go down to Duval County and win that game. But the following week, because I'm feeling, pretty good about myself. You know what? I'm going to give you the L there. I'm sorry, you're not going to go to Florida in back-to-back weeks. I know a lot of New Yorkers retire to Florida. Your season's going to retire in Florida, but you come back with back-to-back wins over the Jets, or not the Jets, the Giants and the Redskins, but you're going to lose here. You're actually going to lose to the Cincinnati Bengals, but you know what? You'll beat the Dolphins. You got something going on. You got a home win, so your fans can go out and be like, hey, we got a home win. And you'll lose to the Ravens. This is a tough schedule. I'll even have you close it out with a loss. I do believe there is talent on this team. I believe there's talent to finish better than 3-13. But when you look at the tough start of the season, and that stretch where you go New England, Philadelphia, Dallas, New England, and Jacksonville, and you close out with the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Bills, 3-13 seems deep run into the playoffs. How'd that work out for them? Not so well, but you know what? 2019 is a new year. You got a nice week 1 matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You got to travel down there, but you know what? I'm going to say you take a loss. Bruce Arians had a lot of success against the 49ers when he was the coach of the Arizona Cardinals. He had a lot of success against everybody, but you know what? You make it up with the win over the Cincinnati Bengals. The Steelers come to town. You're going to lose that one. You go into your bye week in week 4, which just seems ridiculous, but you know what? It's a perfect opportunity to catch the Cleveland Browns napping. You get a win, you're 2-2, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. You're like, this could be our year. This could be the year that the hipster pick actually comes through, except you got to go down to Los Angeles in week 6. That's a loss. But you think, oh, we can beat Washington. Well, back-to-back road games, traveling across the country. I'm going to say that's an L. You got the Carolina Panthers. You're playing host to them. Yeah, that's going to be another L. You got to go down to Arizona to get your first glimpse of Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury. Sorry, guys, that's going to be an L, but you play host to the Seattle Seahawks in week 10. That's a loss. So now you're 2-7, playing host to the Arizona Cardinals. This is where you get back to your winning ways. So now you're 3-7. Perhaps if you close out with a bunch of wins, you might sneak into the playoffs, but Green Bay Packers also have something to play for. Plus, the Baltimore Ravens going on the road to play in Baltimore. That's going to be a loss. You got to go on the road to New Orleans to play the Saints. That's a loss. The Atlanta Falcons, one of the top teams in the NFC. I mean, who are you taking? That's a loss. The LA Rams at home, but still, that's a Super Bowl caliber team. And then you got to go on the road in week 17 to play the Seattle Seahawks. And again, that's a loss. To me, this isn't indicative of the talent or what they're building in San Francisco. I have a lot of faith in Jimmy Garoppolo. I think a really nice season last year in his debut for the Minnesota Vikings. I don't know why everybody was ripping it. I thought he was pretty good. But now the Vikings are going to try to run the ball a little bit more. How will that impact the 2019 season? Well, let's take a look at the schedule. You open up at home against the Atlanta Falcons. That's a tough one right out of the gate. I think the Falcons are going to be one of the not really a surprise team, but one of the best teams in the NFC. That's going to be a hard-fought contest. You're going to take a loss on that one. You got the Green Bay Packers on the road, as you did last year, and you managed a tie. I'm not going to predict a tie, but I will say the Packers find a way to win this time in Lambeau Field over you guys. 0-2, not feeling great, but you got the Oakland Raiders at home. Get a win over there. Now you go on the road to face the Chicago Bears, and the Bears kind of own. Remember when the Bears knocked you out of the playoffs? Because I do. You're going to take a loss right there. You're 1-3, but you know what? You're going to go to play the New York Giants in week 5. That is going to be an opportunity to get a win. Now you're 2-3. You're feeling a little bit better about yourselves, unfortunately. You got to play those Philadelphia Eagles. You are going to take a loss in week 6. You got a road trip to the Lions. That is going to be another loss. Now week 8, it is a revenge game for Kirk Cousins. And of course, he's going to get a victory. You move to 3-5, and you're like, okay, maybe some things can happen. You got to have some good fortune go into your favor. But unfortunately, that week 9 contest is on the road against the Kansas City Chiefs. That is going to be a loss. You're on the road once again to play the Dallas Cowboys. That is going to be another loss, but you will get a win over the Denver Broncos. You go into your bye week in week 12, week 13. You got the Seattle Seahawks. And you know what? Coming off that bye week, I think you will get a win. And now you're hoping, you know what? If you can just win those last 4 games, perhaps you can sneak into the playoffs. But you know what? This is a tough game against the Detroit Lions. I think they get you in it by this point. The it's unraveled. The wheels are off the bus. You go to Los Angeles, come out here, get the loss. Get the loss against the Packers. You know, we could have used that, but whatever. The Bears get you in week 17 once again. Although, you know what? At least the good news is you've already been eliminated from the playoffs at this point. And now, a lot of questions about Mike Zimmer as the team tries to kind of hold on to that running pass. Shocked if the Bears did not win the Super. You know what? As a matter of fact, let's go crazy. Look at all these WWW. Oh, here we go. Yeah, let's get the party started. It's Club Dub, everybody. 16-0. You read it right there. 16. All right, well, this is fair enough. Now, if you know anything about the Bears, they've got 4 winnable games to start the season, so it would make sense they go across the pond, play the Oakland Raiders right before the bye week and take a loss. I could see that happening, but they would come back, beat the Saints. The Chargers are a frisky team, especially when nobody expects them to do well. And I know a lot of people expecting them to go to Chicago to not play well. This seems like a game the Chargers could, of course, come up and win. The Packers on the road week 15. Listen, I got to be a realistic fan here. I'm a fan, but I'm also realistic. I could see that happening, but I do believe that they get wins over the Saints. They get this win over the Rams. They get the win right here in week 1. There is no way, after what happened last season, there is no way that they're going to lose this game. I guarantee it. And you know what? You look at that 13-3 record. That is the #1